parts of the world that are enjoying the afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. This is Business Talk, live here, broadcasting live on Facebook through StreamYard on Love TV Live, and also broadcasting live across Monrovia and other parts of Margibi, Cape Mount, and other parts of Liberia through Love FM 105.1. Also streaming live on multiple platforms on Facebook, on my Facebook page, Elkanah Al Phillips, on Iva Tokba's page, Love TV Live, also on Facebook. Please join the show this morning or this afternoon, where we will be talking about the agriculture sector in Liberia as a means of creating wealth, building wealth, job creation, economic development in every political subdivision across Liberia, stimulating economic growth, and as a result of that, creating jobs at every level of our economy, every level of our society across Liberia. So please join the show. Please share the show today on your Facebook page. My partners they will probably join the show later on today. Ava Tokba is in Liberia. He's on his farm this morning up in Carisburg, upper Margibi County. He's out there doing his thing on his farm. He's got people out there. He's doing a couple of different projects, beta projects, planting different type of crops, be it cash crops and vegetables as well. Rufa Divan Khan is doing some work at the station today. They're doing some technical work there, so he has to manage that. So you're stuck with me today. So I will be the one leading the show today, talking about this, the agriculture sector. So please join the show live, and please share the show, share the link across your different groups, and let's talk about the agriculture sector today as a means of creating wealth, creating jobs, providing opportunities for all levels of our society, the young people, the middle-aged people, the older people, their wisdom, their knowledge, and their understanding, and how we can build our economy with a foundation of agriculture. What can we do? How can we do it? What should we do? I would really like everyone to participate in the show today. So let's all come in and let's talk about agriculture as it is in Liberia. What can we do? What can we do? What should we do in this sector, in this segment of our economy, to create jobs, create wealth, and transform our country, transform the lives of our people? What can we do? What should we do? And how can we do it? It's not about making money, but it's all about what? It's all about building wealth. Wealth is the key. Wealth lives after us. It's not just making money that comes today and goes tomorrow, but it's about building wealth, generational wealth in our economy on the foundation of agriculture. So we'll give it a couple of minutes for more people to join the show, and we will play some music here, and I'll tell Facebook, tell the algorithm that I do not own any copyright to any of this music. So I do not own any copyright to this music. So this is just our background music. So Facebook, please be generous to us. And I just want everyone to enjoy. So welcome to Business Talk. Let's talk business. Let's talk economy, economic growth. Let's talk about the agriculture sector today as we get ready for the show today. Business Talk, May 31st, 2025. Business Talk.
And if you're licking a fighty, I saw me to look. Gelato honey, oh baby, baby, kona. Waka when you enter Malicha. Baby, gonna. Will you give me sugar? Wala. Macho Mona Lisa, 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 Macho Mona Lisa. Girl, I'll be foolish if I don't let you indulge me.
Business talk this morning on Love TV Live, streaming on Facebook. Let's everybody come on and let's talk about the agriculture sector in Liberia, using the agriculture sector as a foundation to create jobs for economic growth, national development in every political subdivision of our country, of our nation, Liberia. How can agriculture be that one instrument for development? How can agriculture be that one sector, that one segment that we can create thousands of new jobs in every county? How can agriculture be that one segment, that one sector of our economy that we can use, that we can invest into so that we can stimulate economic growth? We can attract the diaspora, and we can then build all aspects of agriculture, be it cash crops, be it vegetables that we can feed ourselves. We can then do agribusiness where we can add value. Agriculture. Let's talk about it today. I will open up the phone lines to take some calls, but let's establish the foundation that agriculture is the future. So we got 2 more minutes before the show starts. So let's share this link across Facebook and let's get more people involved. If you're on Vaazit Talk by Facebook page, we're streaming there live and on multiple platforms, or we're also streaming on other Facebook pages as well. Agriculture. It's not about making money. It's about building generational wealth using agriculture. Let's talk about it today. We'll play a little bit more music and then I'll come back and kick off the discussion. Thank you. Join the show. Business talk. Love TV Live.
That's my money to buy logo. It make me happy. That's my money to buy logo. It is sweet my problem in all the finish. We can try to enjoy. But I know the finish. We can try to enjoy. Sikata not the finish. We can try to enjoy. Problem in the finish.
Good morning, Mr. Flummo. Good morning to you. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning to everyone. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you for joining the show. We're going to be talking about agriculture. So let's get ready and let's get into our discussion this morning. So my name is Elkanah Al Phillips. I'm an electrical engineer and also a business development specialist. So I have a tremendous amount of experience, expertise in the energy sector, as well as business development. So my specialization is the ability, the capability, the competence, the know-how, and the understanding to stimulate, to create businesses and to look at different aspects of business and formulate plan strategies to build those businesses, expand those businesses, and grow them, not only to make money, but also to build wealth. So that's what we're talking about this morning. So welcome to everyone on Facebook. If you're joining us, please share the show. We've got a very, very rich topic this morning. Thank you, Gilbert, for joining me on the show today, all the way from Nigeria. Gilbert, good morning to you. Thank you for joining the show. We're going to be talking about agriculture in Liberia. How can agriculture in Liberia be the key instrument for growth, the key instrument or the key sector and the key foundation for economic growth, job creation. Okay, economic growth, job creation, and stimulating national development, because national development comes about because you've created jobs, okay, and people have disposable income, more income to then what better their lives, and then they invest in their local economy. So when you look at Liberia, you look at all the political subdivisions, all of those political subdivisions make up individual segments of the national economy. Okay. And that's important to understand from the agricultural standpoint. Liberia has our foundation is agronomy. Agronomy is our foundation. Thank you for joining the show, Everything Liberia Social Media. Thank you for joining the show. So let's talk about this. I think, one of the challenges that we have as Liberians in trying to build our nation, to create jobs and provide opportunities, and seeing how we can improve the quality of life for our citizens, is something that has challenged us for many, many years. And I think the reason why we're challenged is because the proper level of understanding is not there from the segment of agriculture. Agriculture is a solid, deep, wide, and high foundation. And if we build on the agriculture sector, we will be able to meet all of our needs in terms of job creation for the young people, for the youth of our country. And we will be able to not only make money, those who invest in agriculture will not only make money, but what they would do fundamentally and most importantly is to create wealth, because wealth lives well after you built it. So when you build wealth, it will live and it will provide for not only you, but your children and your children's children. And that's why agriculture is so important. You look across Europe, you look across the US, some of the most wealthy families in this country are those who had a strong, solid, deep, and wide foundation where? In agriculture. In agriculture, my father, Joseph CFR Phillips from Firestone. I was born in Firestone. Tumbling also from Firestone. A lot of people who are watching today, if you're listening to the show and you're from Firestone, please chime in. Please join the show. All of us who are from Firestone Plantations Company. Okay, we're offsprings of agronomists. My father was a rubber man. In Firestone, he was born and raised in Kakata and went to school in Firestone. My grandfather worked in Firestone, and he went to school on a Firestone scholarship, came back and worked for Firestone, and he was a rubber man, and he specialized in rubber. Went to Cottonton University College, graduated, came back, and his specialization was rubber. And you look at the Firestone company today, Firestone has built into place a dynasty, longevity, wealth, from what? From rubber. Agriculture, it was a cash crop, but there were different segments, different levels of that cash crop, from planting to the logistics aspect of it, the value added, building the processing plant in Harbel, and then also shipping it, transporting it back to the U.S. and moving it into the rubber tire processing plant in Akron, Ohio, that created thousands of new jobs in the U.S. and in Liberia. But the thing is, on the Liberia side, we did not build wealth. That's our challenge. We played in the sector, but we don't understand the sector that we're playing in. It's a game. If you do not understand the rules of the game, you will always miss out. You will never get points on the board because you simply don't understand the game. Agriculture is not for making money. It is for building wealth, because every year you can clear, every year you can plant, every year you can produce, every year you can sell, and in the next year you do the same thing. It's repetitive. It is repetitive. So it's important that we understand this agriculture sector. And we have a Ministry of Agriculture. Because time was short, we could not bring anyone in from the ministry, but hopefully moving further, we will bring somebody on the show maybe in the future weeks to talk about what the government of Liberia is doing, planning to do in the agriculture sector. Because again, agriculture is very, very big. It's wide, it's broad, it's deep, it's high, it's long. So there are different aspects of agriculture, from livestock all the way to fishing, to fisheries, and all the way to to planting. And then when you go to planting, you've got cash crops, and then you've got produce. Then you've got the agribusiness, which is adding value to that which you've planted. So it's not just planting the cassava, but it's also adding value to the cassava to export, to also to provide to the local market, and also the regional market of the Minor River Union, and also ECOWAS as a whole. Because we've got almost 30, 40, 50 million people across the ECOWAS region, even more than that, right, that need to be fed every day. So Liberia is strategically positioned to play a very meaningful role in the agriculture sector. So let's talk about jobs in the agriculture sector. In fact, before getting to the job section, let's talk about what we can plant. So if you are a Liberian in the diaspora and you already have your farm in Liberia, what can you do? What can you do on your farm to create jobs and provide transformation into the lives of your workers on your farm? And this is very, very critical. This is very, very critical. Everything Liberia social media is asking the question is there any subsidy for small farmers? Well, that answer will be the answer to that question will come when we bring the person from the government of Liberia in at the agricultural ministry to talk about that. Okay, so I cannot speak intelligently to that. I think it is a very, very good question, but I don't want to go off the rails here to speak and talk about something I do not fully understand or have the correct answer to. I don't want to be misleading. Okay, so let's talk about the first part of this agriculture sector. Creating jobs in agriculture is very important. Very, very important. In fact, I brought something up on Google this morning, and I wanted to read it on the show to talk about. Let me just read this on the show so we can kind of get a deeper understanding of what we're talking about. And I looked up agriculture as a business, because this is business talk. Batum Kula said Samuel Jackson will disagree with you on that. Wealth was built as a segment of Liberian population who sent their kids to boarding schools in Switzerland. It's because of Firestone that Liberians don't produce significant amount of rice and other grain that made us exporters and known as the Green Coast. Mr. Batum, well, I will bring your topic up. We will expand on this point, but I will not personalize it from Samuel Jackson's point of view. But let me just read this so we can establish something that's well-meaning. Okay, so when we're going into a topic, it's better for us to have great knowledge. One, when we're going into a topic, it's good to have great understanding of the knowledge that you know. And then number three, it's important to have wisdom based on the understanding that you have on that topic or that knowledge that you have. So let me lay the foundation of this. So we're talking about agriculture. One, we're talking about agriculture as the foundation for Liberia's job creation, national development, and economic growth all across the country. Okay. And we talked about the fact that there are different segments and different sectors within agriculture. So let me just read this so we can lay the foundation and get a premise so everybody can take their notes. Because again, the key thing is not about the politics. No, I don't want to go down that road. But I want to talk about agriculture as a business. As a business. Because when you look at Firestone, he mentioned Firestone. Agriculture from the Firestone standpoint is what? It is a business. It is a business that has created wealth for that family, Firestone. Harvey Firestone In fact, Harbell today is named after Harvey, Harbel, for his wife Isabel. Okay, so when you go to Google, that's the meaning of Harbell, and that's their legacy. That's their legacy. So Firestone as a family today benefits perpetually over the past 100 years. Firestone came to Liberia in 1926. Next year is 2026. That's 100 years. And Firestone continues, and that family has continued to benefit, to be enriched, because that is what they established generational wealth, because they had the wisdom and the understanding to build a foundation on what? On agriculture that has benefited not only their family, but also the U.S. economy in terms of job creation, economic growth, and prosperity. And it has transformed thousands of lives. My father benefited from that agriculture investment. You build the Firestone Medical Center. My sisters, my brothers, all of us were born there because of that agriculture investment. So when you look at agriculture as a business, it is a deep, wide, high, and long sector of business that you got to bring understanding into. If you focus on making money in agriculture, then you miss it. Then that which you build will not live after you. But if you come into agriculture to build wealth that will live well after you, then you will have established something to be a dynasty, to perpetually provide not only for you, but also for your children who come after you. And all of those people who work for you, work with you to build this company, agriculture company, to a dynasty that will perpetuate wealth. Okay? So let's talk about agriculture as a business. And I'm reading here from Google. So you can also look it up on Google. I just went into Google here, the Oracle, and I put agriculture as a business. And it reads, agriculture, when viewed as a business, is called agribusiness. It encompasses all aspects of food production, from input providers to processors and retailers, and includes activities like farming, processing, and distribution. So there you have it. It's not just the planting, but understand now, it encompasses, right, all aspects, okay, of food production, from the input providers to processors to retailers, and includes activities like farming, processing, and distribution. Agribusiness is a key component of the global economy, contributing significantly to GDP and employment. So this is it. That's the foundation. So if you take that definition of agriculture, when it is what? When it is viewed as a business, okay? When it is viewed as a business, it is called agribusiness. So let's look at it from that standpoint, from Liberia, from our country, from our nation. Have we looked at agriculture as an agribusiness? Have we looked at it from the standpoint that Firestone looks at it? Because if we could duplicate, if we could replicate that understanding from Firestone as the way they look at their plantation, or they look at their farm, their rubber farm, the logistics on the trucking, the tappers that tap the trees, the multiple levels of management, the accounting, the medical side, the education side, it is a business model. It is a business model. So when you're looking to do agriculture and do it at different levels, whether it's subsistence farming, whether you have a 20-acre farm or 30-acre farm, you're going to have employees working on your farm. So that means you're going to have to invest in their future as well, because they're part of what? Of the agribusiness of your farm. Because you are an importer. You are an inputter, not import, but you are putting into the agribusiness sector, because you are maybe a planter. You are a planter. Joseph Saka, thank you for joining the show by way of Facebook. So again, agribusiness, when you look at agriculture as a business, it is called what? Agribusiness. And in agribusiness, it encompasses all aspects of food production, from the input providers to processors and retailers, the marketeers, are a major part of the agribusiness sector and includes activities like farming. So the people who plant the farm play a major role. The people who process that which has been planted, and the people who distribute that which has been planted or that which has been processed. They all play a major role in agribusiness. Agribusiness is a key component of the global economy. That also means Liberia is part of the global economy. So that means it plays a very important role in the Liberian economy. But the question is, do we as Liberians, does our leadership that leads the country, the nation, and its people, do they understand the role that agriculture plays in growth and in economic expansion to move this country, to transform this country's future? That's the question on the table. Because if the person who's driving the car doesn't understand or doesn't know where he's going, we're never going to get there. We're not, a 1 hour journey could turn into an 8 hour journey because the driver, the leader, does not know where he's going. He would keep making twists and turns, and we would never get there. So again, agribusiness is a key component of the global economy, and Liberia being a part of the global economy. That means agribusiness plays a major part in our economy because we are part of the global economy. And that's very important for us to understand and take away from this discussion today. Agriculture and the agribusiness is important for Liberia's growth, economic prosperity, and job creation, and to create wealth. Okay? Now, elaboration, definition. Agribusiness is the commercial side of agriculture. There you have it. Agribusiness is the what? It is the commercial side of agriculture involving the production, the processing, and the distribution of farm-based goods. Very important, very fundamental, because if you don't understand or you don't know the definition of that which you're getting into, then you will go completely off. You'll go in the wrong direction. So that's very important for us to understand. The definition of agribusiness is the commercial side of agriculture involving production, processing, and the distribution of farm-based goods. So write that down. Very important. Very, very important. So agribusiness, that is the business of agriculture. And again, if those who want to follow, I just went into Google and I typed in agriculture as a business. And this is what Google brought up. So that's why I'm using that as the foundation of our discussion, where today we're discussing agriculture as a key segment for economic growth, job creation, wealth creation in Liberia and across all the political subdivisions of Liberia. Okay, so very important, very, very important. Let's move to the next one. The value chain. Value chain is a value chain with various links adding value to raw materials until they reach the consumer. So agribusiness is what? It is a value chain of the agriculture sector. Understand that. Agribusiness is a value chain of the agriculture sector, right? With various links adding value to raw material. What is the raw material? That which you've planted. So you can be in the agriculture, in the agribusiness, even if you don't have a farm. Some people may agree, some people may not agree, but let me expand upon that. So I leave from the US. I come back to Liberia. I've got $100,000. And I say, you know what? I want to go into the agriculture sector, but I'm not going to own a farm. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go to China, buy my cassava processing equipment. And I'm going to go and sit in Magibi, sit in Kakata, buy me 2 or 3 or 4 acres, build me a nice cassava processing plant. I'm going to buy me 10 or 15, 20 motorbikes and go to BWI on graduation day and hire 10, 15 or 20 of the agriculture students who have graduated, train them to go and find all the cassava farmers in the upper Magibi area. and tell them, look, when you plant, I'm going to give you 50% money down. I'm going to pay for all your cassava that you planted. Don't sell it to anyone. When you harvest, just pick up the phone and call me, and we will send the trucks to pick up your cassava and we'll pay you the balance. Right there, all of a sudden, I've taken ownership of all of these cassava planters. I don't own a farm; they own the farm, but I've now strategically developed a business model in the agribusiness, right, in the agriculture sector, to process and add value to cassava by not owning a farm, but contacting and building a commercial relationship with the cassava planters. So when they bring the cassava to me, I hire the young people again, and they clean the cassava, they process it, they add value to it, and we package it, we put it in plastic bags, put the labels on it, and supply it to all the supermarkets across Monrovia. And we can also even find buyers internationally who will want to buy the cassava because there's a demand for it. We can even move the cassava into our regional markets in Guinea, in Sierra Leone, in La Côte d'Ivoire. So that is the basis of it, okay? So it is a value chain that includes input providers, seeds and fertilizers, producers, farmers, processors, food manufacturers, and service providers, the marketeers, okay, the marketers and the distributors. So I may not own a truck, but I may find I may find 2 or 3 guys who own pickups in Kakata and say, look, I'm going to contract you every Friday, come here, pick up my load and take it to Monrovia, and you will go to all the Total gas stations. I cut a deal with Connex to put cassava, processed cassava in all of their freezers. I will go to all the supermarkets, make a deal with them. Okay, every Friday I will have fresh cassava here. I do own a supermarket, but I don't own a farm, but I'm in the agribusiness, which is a major part of the agriculture sector. Okay, so again, agriculture is the key segment of our economy that can create jobs, stimulate economic growth, enhance and transform their lives, and build wealth for multiple generations to come using the Firestone model. Okay, global importance. Agribusiness is a major industry globally, contributing to GDP and employment. It's not me, it's right there. Look it up. Look it up. Agriculture as a business. Put it into Google and then you can follow along. And then we'll open the line for discussion. Okay. Sustainability. Agribusiness also focuses on resource management and sustainable practices, including responsible land, water, and energy use. Again, you're back to energy. So in order for my agribusiness food processing plant in Kakata to produce 24 hours a day, or even if I'm working 12 hours a day, I need a good, stable, reliable source of energy to run my machines, my freezers. So after we process for the day, we shut down for the day, and everything that we process, we moved it into the cold storage. The cold storage needs to run on 24/7 electricity. So that's why LEC, as a power company, is a major pillar in the agribusiness segment. Energy, electricity plays a major role because you need electricity to run the equipment to process the food, the plantain, the cocoa, the coffee, the cassava, the peppers, the bitter ball, the kitale. All of that needs electricity to run the processing machines. So agribusiness cannot succeed in an economy without electricity or energy being a major pillar that supports it. Okay. So again, follow along. I welcome the comments. Everyone who puts in comments on the page, I will read your comments, and let's follow along. We're talking about agriculture as the major segment of our economy, of our country's economy, that can create jobs, provide economic growth. Okay, Ava said that he's back. Ava can join the show. So Ava, welcome back. We're waiting for you. Okay. Everything Liberia social media makes it come. Please keep me posted on your program because I am in the process of growing other crops on my farm. Very good. Very good. So again, participate in the show, watch the show, follow the show. When I open the phone lines, everything Liberia social media, you can join in and you can talk about what you're planting on your farm and what we're discussing. Alva will be joining the show very shortly. He's weighing on his farm in Carisburg, so he will be giving us a live update from his farm where he's planting multiple produce. So we're not just talking, we're talking about actually implementing and executing the discussions and the topic that we're talking about. So let's go on. Sustainability. So again, management of resources, land, water, and energy. Very important to the agribusiness, because again, agribusiness is just one segment of the agriculture sector, okay? But again, agribusiness has so many different parts to it. That is it is the cog in the wheel that makes everything happen. Jobs, technology, all of that, electricity, energy, quality of life. I mean, everything ties into the agribusiness. And the agribusiness is fed from what? From the agriculture sector. So it's so important that we understand this, because the deeper and the higher and the wider understanding we bring into the agriculture sector, then the agriculture sector will be able to produce the transformation in our economy, create the jobs, and bring about the level of national development in every political subdivision of this country that we're so needing for. Okay, let's move on to the next point, as listed in here on the Google page. Challenges, climate change, and other factors pose challenges to agribusiness, requiring adaptation and innovation. There you go. Adapt. We've got to adapt to changes, and we have to what? We have to innovate. Innovation talks about what? Thinking. We have to think. We have to think as a people, as a nation, as a society, as a community. We must always continue to think and to innovate, because why? Change is the only constant. Change is the only constant in our economy, in the sector, because there are some things that we cannot control, but they're there. So as they change, as they introduce changes into the market, changes into the sector, we also have to what? We must adapt, and our successful adaptation to those changes will be based on our what? On our ability to innovate. If we cannot innovate, we will fail as at the process of adaptation, and then because we fail to adapt, ultimately the investment in agriculture will also fail. So that's very important. The challenges of what? Adaptation and innovation. Very important. Very important. Write that down. Everything social media, everything Liberia social media is saying that I have rubber and now planting cassava, corn, and more. Very good. Very good. I will expand on that as well. Okay. Now, so let's move on to the next one. Examples of agribusiness, farming, producing crops and livestock. Okay, so like everything social media is saying, so you are part of the agribusiness food chain. You're part of this, the value chain, because you are an inputter, INPUT, not IMPORT, but you are an inputter. You put in. So as you're planting rubber, as you are planting cassava, and you are planting pepper and other produce or whatever the case that you are planting, you are going to be putting in to the agribusiness segment of the economy. Okay, so that's very important. Okay, so examples of agribusiness, farming. So everything social, Liberia social media, you are a farmer, so you are an importer. You're putting in. Okay, Daniel Alpha is saying that I am following from the Office of Liberia Agriculture Student Association. Thank you, Daniel. Please follow. Please follow. Please also put comments on here. Connect to most of your other members in your association. Let them join the show. Share the link with all of them. I will really want them to participate in this, because the agribusiness sector is a sector that the young people can use their energy, right? Their muscles, their muscles. They can use their energy in this sector 3 to 5 years, build a solid foundation in the agribusiness segment, okay? And they will what? They will have wealth, not make money, but they will build wealth that will live for them, produce wealth, produce financial benefits for themselves and their families well after they've left this earth, okay? Very important, very important. Processing, that's the next example of the agribusiness. Processing, converting raw materials into finished products. Example, food processing, livestock feed. Okay, there you go. Everything social media. You said you're planting rubber. You said you're planting cassava. You said you're planting corn. Okay, so those are your raw materials. The question for you on your farm, are you only going to be a planter, or are you going to be both a planter and a processor? That's the question. So are you only going to be an inputter, I-N-P-U-T-E-R? Are you only going to input your raw materials, your cassava, your rubber into the agribusiness sector? Okay. Or are you going to plant and then after you've planted, take money and invest it into cassava processing machines and add value to your cassava after you've planted it? Okay. Package it and then move it into the Monrovia market because there's a demand. So if you're in Kakata, have you gone to the local supermarket in Kakata and say, you know what, I want to cut a deal. I want to put a freezer in here, no expense. So I will buy the freezer and I will plant my cassava, process it and put it into bags and put it in this freezer. And because you own the supermarket, I will give you 15-20% off of every bag that is sold. Okay, so that's the key. That's the key. This is the key. So you've got to be very, very innovative. You got to be innovative. Okay, planter for now, and then moving forward with processing my produce. Very good point. And that's why we have this show. We have this show so that we can discuss ideas. We can innovate. We can discuss. We can have a platform of what? Key business discussion for economic growth, job creation, and transformation for Liberia. Okay, let's go back. Distribution, examples of agribusiness. You could be just a distributor in the agribusiness. Okay, getting products from producers to consumers. So like the guy who has let's just say he's got 5 pickup trucks. He's got 5 pickup trucks in Kakata, and I contract him. I said, my man, look, I'm going to process my food, and I need you to show up here every Friday morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. Everything we produce for the week, I want these 5 pickup trucks to load up and move my goods into Monrovia. I need you to be in Monrovia by 6:30 to all the Connex gas stations, from Kakata all the way to Harbel. Every supermarket, I've already cut a deal there. So I need your pickup trucks to deliver, and my salespeople in the field, they've already told me how many go to the Connex gas station on Duper Road, the Connex gas station at Red Light, the Connex gas station at Freeport, so forth and so on. Okay, so once we get those sales figures in for restocking, then I give it to the guy who owns the pickup trucks. And he's my what? He's my logistics. I don't own the pickup trucks. I don't want to make that investment. So I find someone who's already in that segment and I contract him and I pay him. I said, you know what? I will pay for the fuel. I will pay for the gasoline for the pickup trucks. And then you charge me to carry each load every day. I mean, every Friday. You can do whatever you want to do, but just make sure your trucks are here 5 o'clock in the morning. We load up and you take it there, and my people will be there to ride along with the trucks to go to each of the locations. So again, logistics and distribution is a major part of the agribusiness. And I think one of the things that we Liberians need to understand, you cannot own the entire value chain. If you try to own the entire value chain, then you're going to have problems because you don't have the capex, the capital investment to pay for every aspect of the value chain. Okay. And that's important. That's very important to understand. Armstrong Jabba, Answering Jabba is saying investing in agriculture in Liberia takes 3 to 5 years to break even before making profit. It's not a quick money business. Okay, very good, Armstrong Jabba. It depends again. That point you just made, I'm not saying you're wrong. But what I'm saying is it depends. There are different aspects of success. How do you define success? How do you define success? Is it all about making money? Is it all about breaking even? Or is it by what? Surviving the first year, the second year, the third year? What are you planting? What is your distribution channel? Are you adding value? Have you find your customers to buy that which you are planting? What are you planting? Is what you're planting, is there a demand in the market? You don't want to plant something that doesn't have a demand, because then what's going to happen after you harvest, you can't sell it. You can't sell it. You cannot blame the market. You have to blame yourself, because you did not do the proper business development and research of the market to see what the market demands. You have to plant what the market demands, so that when you plant it and you meet the market demand, it is in that commercial transaction of supplying what the market demands that you build and you make money to build wealth. Very important. You don't want to plant in the agriculture sector what the market does not want. The reason why you do business is because you are providing a service that somebody wants. And when the person pays you and you provide the service, that transaction, that's business. He gets the service, you get the fee or the money that you charge him, and that's how everybody is happy. So you don't want to plant what the market does not want. We're waiting for Alva to join the show. Okay, so let's continue on. Okay, marketing. That's the other example of the agribusiness, or the other part of the agribusiness. So you may not be a farmer, you may not be a processor, you may just be the marketing aspect. So you're the guy who make the billboards for all the farmers. You're the guy who make the billboards for all the supermarkets that carry all the agri products. You're the guy who makes the billboard for the guy who processes the food. So the marketing aspect, the promotion, the selling of the agriculture products. So if you're processing food, how many salespeople do you have on the field to go to every supermarket and every gas station that has a convenience store to build a relationship and make the business arrangement for them to take that which you have processed and made it available to the market? Have you invested in marketing and advertising on different radio stations? Have you put billboards around town? Have you done the marketing aspect so you can drive the consumers to the supermarkets to look for your products that you put in the freezers? So the marketing aspect of the agribusiness is a very important part, because if people don't know what you have processed and what you put in the supermarket, explain to me, how will people buy it? How will people buy it? And if people cannot buy it, then as Armstrong Jabba just said, it takes 3 to 5 years to break even before making profit. So the marketing, the promotion, the business development, the sales aspect of the agribusiness sector is very, very important. And many people forget that. They just think that agriculture is all about buying me 10 acres, clearing the 10 acres, making the beds and planting the pepper, planting the corn, planting the cassava, or buying me 25 or 50 or 100 acres of planting rubber. No, that's not all to it. That's just one part of it. That's just one aspect of it. And maybe that's the reason why agriculture as a sector of our economy has not truly developed and transformed and produced the wealth for our country. Even though we have very, very fertile land, and we have an abundance of land, and we have abundance of rainfall, and we have abundance of creeks and rivers that we could irrigate and flow, and we have the available technology. Maybe that's the reason why we have not been able to truly exploit this God-given blessings for our country, which is good land, good tropical rainfall, good geographical location, ports of for export, an airport, and we're only 8 or 12 hours away from the eastern seaboard of the U.S. And we're not making use of our geographical location. So again, marketing, distribution, processing, and farming. They're examples of what? Segments within agribusiness. Okay. So let's keep the comments coming. Let's keep the comments coming, and we'll wait for Ava and Rufus to join the show. And we're talking about agriculture this morning. We're talking about agriculture, agriculture as the segment to create jobs, provide, produce economic growth and national development and wealth creation all across Liberia in every political subdivision, from Lofa to Bapolu to Cape Mount to Bomi to Montserrato to Magidi to Bong to Nimba to Grand Jita, River G, Grand Bassa, Grand Cru, Sino, and Maryland. Okay, we need to latch into this. We need to plug into this. We need to understand this. The agriculture sector is our key for economic growth, job creation, national development, and most importantly, creating generational wealth within our country that will live long after us, using what? The Firestone model. Look at Golden Verilium. They are an agriculture company. They've used the same model to create what? Wealth for their shareholders. Why can't we think in that way? Why can't we think in that way? Okay, so let's continue going. So let's move on to the next point. Supporting agriculture. Agribusiness provides the necessary inputs, seeds, fertilizer, equipment for farmers, and supports the industry through research, education, government programs. There you have it. Supporting agriculture. So supporting the sector is very important from the government standpoint. Government has to play a role, but the private sector is bigger than the government. So that's why private sector investment. Okay, there he comes. Ava himself. Wow, look at that. The man is dressed up as a farmer this morning, and he is on the path to make sure he builds, he grows, and he expands the agriculture sector in that area. Ava, good morning, good afternoon. You're live.
Good afternoon from my end. Good morning to you. Good morning to you.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. Give us a live update on what you're doing on your farm as we're talking about agriculture as a key sector for economic growth, job creation, and economic transformation, and wealth creation in our country, Liberia. Go ahead.
Right. So today we're doing a little bit of harvesting. Now, the small farmer like us who just farm directly and not in the processing of value addition, we are the short end of the stick. And that's what happens with a lot of small farmers, right? So um, we need an aggregator or processor or buyer for cassava. And over the last couple of months, we've been struggling with that. Early on, right before we go harvest, let's say the price was like $1,000 for, a 25 kilogram bag. Because a lot of times they don't go by actual weight; they may go by the size of the bag, right? And hopefully the industry or the sector can change very soon. That scale will be, an integral part of the production process. But anyway, we did not sell them, but right now it's 800 Liberian dollars. So basically, you're losing 200 on every kilogram now if you're selling now, right? Because maybe there's a lot that's excess, or maybe the people who control the sector in terms of processing, they understand the market that they know at a certain point, based on the volume of cassava, they can drop the price and still be
Yes.
able to be functional and do what they want to do. So we're harvesting today. Then that's the other challenge, right? The timing, the communication with the off taker, making sure they come at the time you want them to come. Like for example, today we have been communicating since noon. They were supposed to come. We've been going back and forth, going back and forth. Unfortunately for us, like an hour ago, it was like, oh, we'll come soon tomorrow morning, right? And we know storage is a problem. So there's no guarantee that the cassava will be picked up tomorrow morning, even though we're hoping it happens. We expected it today, but it didn't happen. So now they give 2 days, 3 days, then we're talking about decay, right? Then you're
Hmm.
losing product. And there's
And you're
no
losing product.
contract
Yes.
signed between you and our purchaser that if they don't pick up the product, it's on them. They're still gonna have to pay for it. That's a whole separate ball game. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the market, in the relationship between buyers, sellers, processors. And like you were talking about earlier, there are other people along the way. I just mentioned storage. There are people who will store and be able to ensure that that cassava is still fresh, right? So I was giving somebody gave an example, just uh, raw cassava, raw cassava that just packaged in a little plastic bag in the U.S. is about $8.99 for 5 pounds.
Yeah.
I think
Just
if not
just
less.
under $10.
But we just imagine we're not even paying $5 for the raw cassava here for more or just about nearly 50 pounds. Okay. So I was looking at it, you making yesterday I did some calculations. I'm sorry I'm blowing my horn because somebody
It's
just
okay.
backed
It's
into
okay.
me
Go
doing
ahead. Go ahead. You're
transportation.
alive. You're alive. You're alive.
Well, let me look for the calculation. Can you still see me?
I can see you
Can
went
you see
off
me?
just now. I can hear you. We can hear you.
But you can. All right. Y'all hold on 1 second, please. Let me be all. Let me try to go and find a post where I did the calculation, in terms of what comparison is between, um, getting the raw cassava from here. I think we are getting like 0.07, um, probably like 7 cents a pound, whereas getting to, let's say, since it's 8.99 for 5 pounds, so 5 pounds into 8.99, they're getting $1 and change per pound. So
Mhm.
just imagine we are getting 7 cents, and those folks are getting $1.80 per pound. So you see it, if we add value to cassava, right? Just the raw cassava. I'm not talking about the gari and the stuff, because just yesterday we're informed that there will be a tapioca class, and we're going to send our farm manager to participate in that because processing tapioca, another end product of cassava that can come in
Mhm.
flakes, cakes, different shapes. It's another important way for, our people. So the opportunities for cassava sector is huge. It's just about, can we really transform it for our people so that they can be able to benefit? And that's where the question is right now. The value addition, the different players in the sector.
And you are one. Go ahead, Ava. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, the different players in the sector. Let it be structured in a way that we know that everybody is benefiting. There's something for everybody, and part of that is an involvement of government. For one, to get our exports right, we need a certified facility, one that can, you know, certify these different things. They got something called the International Standards Organization. They got different standards for food and for quality that anybody processing, packaging food need to adhere to. For the FDA, I believe is primarily ISO 9001, which is
Hmm.
the quality management system, and then ISO 22000, which is for food management. So when you can get those certifications as a facility, yeah, and be able to process food, certify food, and get stuff exported, that would make a major difference for our cassava sector, and similarly other products as well. That particular facility can be able to do it for them. So we have ways to go, but if we have a government that is really concerned with off taking, it will be very, very important. And luckily, I was at a meeting yesterday. There's supposed to be a World Bank program coming that are going to focus on the private sector, and hopefully those in the forestry area who are making their livelihood off the forest now. They're trying to find some alternatives. They're not too focused on just conservation. Because look, the reality is we got significant wealth in our forests, right? Both from a sustainable perspective in terms of conserving those things that we can get some carbon sequestration and be able to get carbon credits, from being able to utilize portion of that forest because there's some densely dense deposits of some extremely valuable minerals in our different forests, right? If and those, from what I hear, and I hope anybody who out there can correct me, it's not even 1,500 acres or hectares. It's like probably like maybe 1,000 hectares. What are they? 100 uh 100 million hectares that constitute our forest.
Mm-hmm.
We can have that little portion that dedicated to farm, but it got to mining, but it gotta be managed right. Because mining today in Liberia is disastrous to our environment.
That's
And it
exactly
cannot
right.
continue. It cannot continue. It's not sustainable. It needs to change the communities in which these people are mining, they need to benefit. So if we are shifting towards agriculture, we still need a balance of mining. We need value addition on both sides to help us. And we see that evolving in Africa today. You know, some people may not be too happy with Ibrahim Traore down in Burkina Faso or some of the other African leaders that internalizing and trying to make things happen for themselves. But ultimately, that's what we need to do. We need to realize our value. We need to realize what we are worth and be able to operate at that level. We have a lot of capacity. We have a lot of potential and we need to work together as Africans, as Liberians, and own things. No Liberian own or Class A mine. The highest level of mining, we got Class C, which is just a regular claims. You can go and use your sifter or whatever to mine and artisan mining stuff. Class B, you can use couple of machines, and then Class A, that's the top of the level. That's where we need some Liberians to have ownership. So if our government can start thinking about how Liberians can be part of this mining sector, how we can benefit all of our forests. And some people are trying, right? They got something called national capital accounting, where they utilize our natural resources and get the value for it to be included in our national budget. It's not just direct money, but it's the value of those things and calculating those things. We've got a couple of different organizations that will be coming in to help build, and I think it's starting with a mangrove account. You know, what is the value of mangrove to us? What does it mean to have mangroves all over our country? So when we assess those kind of things, then we start looking at the potential other kind of national accounts for different products that we can be looking at our natural resources for us to understand what the value is. So there's a lot of things that need to happen, but the fundamentals have to be there. The political will has to be there. The leadership has to be there. And you talked about it, the vision, that level of understanding what the future will hold. It's not just for you, but it's for your country, it's for the generations unborn, and how they can be able to sustain when they come on the stage to be able to be successful, you know.
Very good. Thank you, Ava. I mean, there's nothing better to have a discussion on the, like I said today, the agribusiness sector is a major sector of our economy. Very, very important. And I think that the lack of understanding, as I always talk about, the lack of understanding of how important this sector is and how vast, how wide this sector is and how powerful this sector is, if we can truly, tap into it. I mean, because, okay, you brought up a very good point about the mining sector, right? About mining as an industry. Mining is extractive, one. Number two, mining is depletable. You're depleting your natural resource. It's not replenished. There's nothing replenishing about mining. Yeah, we've got all the testimonies. You go to Bombay, you go to Bong Mine, you go to Lamco, you see all of what was taken away, and there's nothing else there. So it's depletable. So when you go into the agribusiness, you go into the agriculture sector, there's never ending. Here it is, like I talked about Firestone, right? Next year is 2026. Firestone came into this country in 1926. Next year, we're making 100 years. And here it is. The farm is still there. They're expanding into what? Into private ownership farms. It's perpetual. Okay, that family of Firestone, okay, has what? Perpetual generational wealth. They've added value to the rubber from the latex side. They've done research and development in Akron, Ohio. They've gone into polymers. So there is, I mean, and every year Firestone cuts, Firestone plants, the trees continue growing. It's perpetual, it's generational, it's replaceable. And that's what we as Liberians need to understand. We need to understand that this agribusiness, as you say, is a business model. It is a business model that can create jobs, economic growth, is transformational, it improves lives, and most importantly, it creates wealth at every level of our society. Every level it creates wealth. From you who are planting to the owners to the person who's just buying, you're talking to off takers. Just think about it. You talk about government, right? Just imagine if the government came up with an idea of providing food to elementary schools. That's an off taker right there. So you look at the boarding schools, corner lot, not too far from where you are, BWI. You're not too far from BWI. Can you imagine how much cassava BWI has to buy every day to provide for meals for the students on the campus? That's an off taker. That's an off taker. So I think that, again, the level of creativity and innovation that we need in the sector, like you said, is not there. Okay. I got a question here from this guy. He's called, I don't know his name, but he's on Facebook. He's asking, his social media handle is Everything Liberia Social Media Buzz. Can you ask the panelists, you know more about this on the government side, can you ask the panelists about small farmers subsidies? Subsidies. Is the government of Liberia providing any subsidy for small farmers?
What's the question?
Is the government of Liberia providing subsidy for small farmers?
Not subsidy across the board, right? But at some international programs like RETRAP, like STOP, they got all these different acronyms that do provide some assistance, some equipment, some technical support for farmers, but it's not consistent. It's not clear, what it is. I think people have to apply, and then in the process of application, there's always complaints. Why did they get? Why the other person got? So it's not really, to me, a transparent process. So it needs some overhaul. But some people have benefited. Some people do benefit from these different programs, but it's not a consistent benefit elevation, benefit involvement, visibility of benefit, understanding the process. So those are some of the challenges they face. But no, across the board, no subsidy. It's still very challenging for small farmers. And besides the storage challenge, there's the farm to market road challenge. We are like 20 minutes off road from where the Kakata Highway meets. Let me give them a plug. There's a new supermarket right before you get to Walkie Farm. It's called Smart Shop, and it's open. And I think, again, it's a part of the advancement of the urban area from just Central Monrovia to have now all these areas are expanding. More people are getting there. More businesses are developing, and that's how it should be, right? But there needs to be a lot of fundamental things in place. Whether it's from the infrastructure, the electricity, and water. Whether it's from the zoning to make sure that people not feeling helter skelter like they're doing now, and which I applaud the government. The government is bringing down people homes in the alley, But one of the key things,
Okay, Ava.
They do Alex right.
I think you should shut off your video because your audio is very bad. People are saying that they cannot hear you. Shut off your video and just stay on your voice.
Okay. Let me go away from the video and see if it works.
And shut off the video, stay on the voice side, but you have to talk louder. There you go. So everything social media handle. He's basically saying, I mean, in so many words, what Ava was basically saying is that there is not an across the board subsidy for small farmers across Liberia, and that presents a challenge because again, it is a capital expense. I mean, it is a capital intensive business. Agriculture is capital intensive. That's why, as I said earlier when I was discussing the topic, it is a whole value chain. So what you need to do is you want to pick one segment. If you want to be a planter and based on your capital investment, the money you have, pick one segment, focus on that segment. Focus on that segment. I'm going to bring in Edwin Fambule. He's going to join the show. I'm going to send him the link here. And when he joined the show, he will be talking. Believe he's an investor. He's also an agribusiness investor as well. So let me see here. Let me see if I can copy this and send it over to Edwin. Edwin, you're going to be on the show here shortly. Just click that link and join the show. So we're talking about agriculture, right? So like Ava said, he's planting, he's growing. There's okay. I've got another question here. Prince Dara. Prince, thank you for joining the show. Why is it the government of Liberia don't own the land and produce products in various countries that Liberia use daily? Okay, so again, government have to pick and choose what it's going to focus on. Okay, so again, investing in agriculture is capital intensive. You want the government to plant, and you want the government to harvest. You want the government to manufacture and then produce and then distribute. That's a talk. Again, we're talking about the value chain. We're talking about the value chain and it's capital intensive. That means you're going to have to spend a lot of money and invest a lot of money in not only the energy but the machines and then training the people. So it's best. The point you just brought up, Prince. That's why the private sector is important. The private sector is very, very important. It's very, very important. The private sector is very important because with the private sector, you can buy your 10, 15, 20, 30 acres of farmland. You can develop your farmland. You can pick and choose. You want to plant coconut, you want to plant mango, you want to plant oranges, or you want to plant cassava, whatever it is you want to plant, you make the investment, you be the planter, and then you can choose to make the investment in your machines, or you want to just sell your oranges in the market. But if you remember what Alva was saying, it's seasonal. So if you produce your oranges just raw to the market during orange season, there would be an oversupply of oranges, and then you got a problem of what? Preservation. And you cannot preserve that which you planted without the energy, electricity to run your cold storage and to run your machines to add value to that which you have planted. So again, it's an all-around, all-encompassing. So it's not one thing that solves it. Agriculture, the agribusiness sector is multifaceted. Is multifaceted. I'm waiting for Edwin to come online here. So Edwin, I've already sent you the link. Just click it and join the show. And once you come on, just let me know. We'll add you onto the show. Okay. So agriculture, as I was saying earlier, you got also risk management. Okay. Like Ava was saying, agriculture is inherently risky. Agribusiness provides tools and strategies for managing risk, like weather. You've got the pests, the locusts, the grasshoppers, the groundhogs, and market fluctuations, like Ava was saying. Okay, if you produce the cassava at the season where everybody is producing and supplying cassava into the market, the oversupply would reduce the price. will reduce the price. And once that price is significantly reduced, then you're going to be on the losing end because now you can't get your return on investment. That's why some planters graduate and move up to the level of value add to what they've planted, so that because once you add value to what you've planted, you've increased your profitability, but there's a capital investment in terms of machine training people and the energy that is needed to run those machines. Let's welcome Mr. Edwin Fambula. Edwin, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining Business Talk. Please introduce yourself and let's talk about what you want to talk about today on the show. Thank you, Edwin.
Thank you, Brother Philip. Hello?
Go ahead. We can hear you live. Go right ahead.
Yes, thank you. And as you said, my name is Edwin Fambula. I lived and worked in Liberia. I actually work for the electricity sector. I'm in LEC. And I'm also have started, getting involved with agribusiness in Grand Cape County, where I hailed from.
Very good.
But yes, quite an interesting topic. And I listened to both you and my big brother Albert Topa. What you guys strike about the mining sector and the agro sector is so important to our country. Many times we have this conversation that in the 60s and the 70s, they were the Europeans and our American business counterparts that were depleting our natural resources. And today it's visible when you go to these counties like Bombing Hills, like Grand Cape County, where I hailed from. There was a place that they used to call Congo. I think there was some disaster in the 80s where there was a landslide.
I remember the landslide.
Yes, where a lot of people got killed. And today you look back at those counties, there was nothing left in those counties after those natural resources were depleted. And today similar things again is happening. Again, when you go to Grand Cape Mount, Brother Philip, I can tell you just last year alone, close to $1 billion worth of gold left this country. What did Liberia get? Absolutely nothing. 3% in terms of royalty. I was very stressed in this country. Almost $1 billion worth of gold. Today, fast forward from the 60s and the 70s, today, it is the Asians that are depleting our natural resources and absolutely giving nothing back to us. The gold mine in Cape Mount is owned by a Turkish guy. So we are giving our natural resources to foreigners who are sitting overseas and making billions of dollars out of us, where our people are still lying in abject poverty. Go to Grand Cape County. So what we need to do, like you rightly say, we need to take money from the natural resource sector, which is the mining sector, and put it into agriculture. I've gone through the length and breadth of this country. If you go to the southeast is largely unpopulated. Not a lot of people in the southeast. I drove between River G and Maryland. There's a low land in our area, swampy area on both sides. Sometimes you drive for 3 hours, both sides of the road, swamp. We can grow rice in our area, supply the entire southeast, supply even Liberia, and even sell some of those products outside of Liberia. So government herself needs to get highly involved into agriculture. Agriculture is the way for Liberia. We need to sit back. Look, last year alone,
look, Edwin is making some very serious points. Edwin, go ahead.
Look, last year alone, Nigeria exported $500 million worth of cassava to China. We have a very good soil that grows cassava. Why are we not getting into merchandise farming to produce cassava and sell to China and some part of the world? Cassava nowadays is being used for a lot of different things. They're making flours, they're making starch, they're making different other things. So we need to move into massive agriculture. China became successful not because of technology, but Chinese started by feeding themselves first and trying to feed the rest of the world. That's how you're able to transform your country from dependency to being independent. Because once you can feed yourself, you are taking a step further. But this thing where we just sit back and just, oh yes, let a foreigner come and take the Olugisi mine. Let it come and take the Putu mine. At the end of the day, all of those natural resources will get depleted. The people in those counties will remain poor, and this country will take no step further. Okay. But if we can take the resources from there and put it into agriculture, we can keep creating wealth and keep creating jobs for our people.
Very good. So
Thank you.
let me just add on to what Edwin was just saying, and I think Ava wanted to comment. Ava, let me just make a point. If from the beginning of the show, I use the word understanding. I think as I said earlier, we as a people, we as a nation, we as a society, a community, the deep, the high, the wide, level of, lack of understanding of how important the agricultural sector, right? That agribusiness is not just the planting. I think, if you don't have that level of understanding, then all you want to do is to take the easy way out. And this is what mining is. Mining is the easy way, the lazy man's business. So when government people sit and they don't want to innovate, they don't want to be creative, they don't want to do the hard thinking and connect all of the different aspects to bring about what? Longevity in terms of, not just making money, but creating and building wealth that will live long after for legacy. Then what you do the easy thing, which is just, okay, give them Putu Mountain, let's collect our royalties. And then the thinking process stops. It ends right there. And like I said, when you look at the Firestone model, the agribusiness model of Firestone, next year, I continue to say it on the program today, next year is 2026. Firestone came to this country with this agribusiness model, this agribusiness vision. And here it is 100 years later. This model continues because what? It is not depletable. It is replaceable, replenishable. They're continuing to plant more trees. But the thing is, we on the Liberia side, there is no wealth generation within the Liberian sector of the rubber industry. There is only wealth generation within the Firestone sector abroad. You go to Akron, you will see it. All the universities, all the colleges in Akron, Ohio, all bear Firestone. Why? Because they created thousands of jobs, created transformation in the lives of so many people. One of my workmates at the company where I work for, he just retired. His father worked in the tire pit in Akron, making the tires with the rubber that came from Liberia. We used to call each other Firestone buddies. Yes. He just retired about 45 days ago from the company. So again, and like you rightly said, there's no understanding, and the lack of this understanding has us where we are. Like I read on the Google discussion here, the explanation of the agribusiness. This is the only sector of our economy that can create the jobs, provide the economic transformation, create the wealth, and empower development all across this country, because it is replenishable. It is replenishable. And like you said, you're in the energy sector. That's where you and I, we build our relationship from. Energy plays a very important role in preservation and value addition into the agribusiness sector. Go ahead, Ava. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead. Just don't put the video.
Wonderful.
The audio is fine enough. Go ahead.
Let me. Yeah, it looked like the network got better. So let me see if I can find the video. Okay. So yeah. So
Yeah, the network got better. I can see you clearly now.
I did. Somebody did a post. Let me go to the post. Somebody did a post in February. They said, "Did you know Liberia produces a minimum of 7.8 tons of gold per year? This is a whopping $735,800,000. And where's the cash?" So that was February 21st. Let's add it to it because there's more information on that. I said, it's old. In 2022, Liberia produced more than 11 tons of gold. In 2024, I'm sure that has increased. But at $94 per gram, that's nearly $1 billion we're talking about right there. Mm-hmm. And like you said, how much did we get out of that? and how many Liberians are in that sector to say even if they were just on the private sector benefiting, Liberians in that private sector are really benefiting. Is that significant? You
Yeah.
know, same for iron ore at $100 a metric ton, right? We did supposedly did 5 million metric tons last year. That's $500 million in iron ore. Okay. And then recently, Metal Steel, and that one of the reasons why they're trying to get the monopoly on the rail, they discover a whole new deposit of iron ore that could boost up that whole 5 million metric ton to 20 million metric ton in the next 5 to 7 years. That means iron ore production will pass gold, get up to 2 billion in iron ore. What our plan to benefit from that? Whether from a social perspective, because the economy is behind. But for those communities that are in the area, that's why you see a lot of problems in Nima too. And I'm probably Grand Basel in terms of people saying Meta still have not met up to their corporate social responsibility, which needs to happen, you know. So it's just important that our government understand this stuff, that to some extent the model that LPMC had, we need to extend it to the actual processing part and the exportation of products, not raw material products. Because I gave an example earlier of the cassava. I
Hmm.
went into the grocery store. I took pictures of plum. Look, where I'm going to right now in Johnsonville, I'm leaving from the farm now, going right to Johnsonville there in the Mount Barkley area. Even though there's some kind of school program going on and we can't even, I've been sitting in the same spot for the last 40 minutes. You know, it just shows the patience of job. Today now you don't got no choice. When you traffic, when you eat traffic in Liberia, you don't have a choice. I'm sitting down. 40 minutes I've been in this spot. I can't move. But where I'm going, one plum tree there. Hopefully will still be there. I will show you the plum tree. The person who joined the plum, that the one less security that in the yard. And maybe he can try to get it off there. I don't know. But the plum bears profusely. The plum tree bears. And I love mango and probably because when I was small, I used to eat plum. I used to fight people for plum. I used to climb plum tree. I used to chunk plum, you know. So plum have been like a major step. But for the way people love mango juice and the way it goes, I don't see why we are importing extra mango juice here, other mango juice, and we're not manufacturing juice. Government has to identify these areas that we have comparative economic advantage in for production to be able to get our products. And now again in Africa, the continental free trade, the African continental free trade, which is a plus because we have the ability to feed our people. We have the ability to produce products that other countries that don't have what we have will be able to use. So it's just sad that we're not getting to that point of really thinking on the future, how we can leverage some of these trade agreements, some of these trade opportunities. The ECOWAS region. Look, my classmate from high school. She's, I think, the commissioner for Bull Side. She just reached out to me. Ava, how can you help us make Bull Side, you know, a better place? What kind of investments can be attracted there? And Bull Side has been a business hub. They said not one bank. Edwin, you can confirm this. She said there's not one bank in Cape Town. How can that be?
Bi-
That's
bi-
true. That's true. 100% true.
go,
Yes.
go,
So
go.
seriously, we Liberians will need to think on these opportunities that exist. If we start a patch, not a full bank, fledged bank, but some kind of financial institution that can be used for transactions over there. I know we got current cash. I got my current cash cap on. We'll look into the possibility of opening a major stand in our area because we can do remittance to Sierra Leone and from Sierra Leone to us. So we have that ability to do that. We got 90 countries in the current cash remittance system. Okay, so these are opportunities for Liberians, and they need to be really, really leveraged. So Liberians, you think on your where you come from, your community and other places, what kind of potential business can happen there, and how we as a people can attract business. And the government can be helpful that certain businesses must have Liberian partnership. I mean,
Okay.
in Ghana, some Ghanaians have just gotten rich just based off that. My
Yeah.
last point I want to make before I shift is what Edwin talked about. You're talking about one town that has supposedly a lot of natural resources and people export it. I went to this place called Weird. When you hear the story, I don't know if you know
Yes.
about Weird, but Weird was like a diamond capital where
The
the people
Dama
used to
Kappa.
wash
Where's
car.
why build Belgium? Where's why build Belgium? Antwerp.
Thank you.
Antwerp.
People used to wash
Antwerp.
car with
Yep.
beer. We used to, that's how I used to drink. But I used to, the garden who are
Yes.
dealing with
Yes.
diamond, this kind of thing.
Yes.
When you go to that place, a shell, empty, nothing
Nothing.
there.
Yep.
I'm like, how can this
Depleted.
happen?
Depleted.
So we
It
really, really need to look because natural
think.
mineral
You
resources
think.
can finish. Agriculture can be very sustainable, but we need effective management of our resources. And hopefully, this government, as it's demonstrating some will in other areas, they need to demonstrate the will to make Liberian build generational wealth like you were talking about. Thank you.
Go ahead, Edwin.
Yes.
Go ahead. Let me let you join in. Go ahead, Edwin.
Yes, like my big brother Ava said, I think we need to start a conversation. It's not too late, in as much as we actually discussing the agro sector, but the agro sector in Liberia will not grow if no capital investment is made into the agro sector. And the only people, the only institution that is supposed to make the largest investment is the government. Because even right now, if a farmer goes to the bank and say, oh, I'm growing potatoes or something in Nimba or Grange there, I need $200,000. The banks are going to look at that farmer like a joker,
Yeah.
like he's not ready. Now, what and this is my formula, right? What I think the government needs to do, the government needs to open the agricultural bank. They need to actually open an agricultural bank wherein we sit with these natural resource extractors in the country and say, look, you are going to step up your quota to Liberia because these communities that you are depleting these resources from, the people are suffering. We need to start creating worth for these people. So every year, you're going to make sure that you put $10 million or whatever the percentage is in this agro bank, wherein we can take money from there and loan to this farmer at maybe 0% interest. And then government can also assist them with machinery so that they can grow more food. And then when they grow the food, government now can be the one as the off-taker, take it up from them, sell it, and then be able to pay them. I think in this way, gradually we'll be able to start growing the agri sector. Ghana, there's a major competition in Ghana every year. Now, the person who produced the highest yield, in fact, last December, I was in Accra. I think Akana Philip and I, spoke a lot of time when I'm in Accra. So the farmer that produced the highest yield for that year get a prize that range from tractors, pickup, seed, and all of these things. And what that does to that farmer, it creates, this appetite to do more. And there are also other farmers that also want to compete because they want to be able to carry the price for the next season. But government is the first and foremost institution that need to step in to make sure that these things happen. Look, Brother Philip, there is nothing absolutely that don't grow in Liberia. Take, for example, coconuts. I went to the southeast. You have tons of beaches that have coconut just standing there. Those coconuts stay there. It just drop, And then when you go across the border to Ivory Coast, guess what? There are coconut plantations where they are producing coconut oil. It's been shipped to Europe.
Yeah.
Groundnuts, all of these things. So why are we sitting on a God-given wealth? But yet our people are poor. We are living in abject poverty. You go to these villages and stuff, people cannot even find food to eat because they do not have the financial will to be able to toil the soil. If you are just a single guy, you're trying to use a cutlass to be able to go and make farm. How much farm can you make? That's what people are saying that, people from certain part of the country are lazy people. No, it's not that they are lazy. They need to have some kind of support to be able to make farm that will feed themselves, their family, and then they can be able to sell the other yield. But nobody looking out for these people. A few years back, it was just the USAID and other donors that come in there, see if they can chip in to give them some kind of seed or something. The Ministry of Agriculture needs to step up. The government needs to step up and say, this is the way to go. Let's identify all of these counties. Where can we grow? What can we grow so that we can be able to have excess, sell the other one outside of this country so that we can also be able to get foreign direct capital into our country that will help to build our economy. We
Let,
cannot
let,
keep sitting here and waiting for the Lebanese, waiting for the Fullers to be able to bring food for us that we can grow. Like Ava said, plum, mango. Mango, in fact, there is mango tree almost all over. Mango grows everywhere in this country. And then yet still, we are still bringing mango from Europe, from China to come and we're still bringing in mango juice from China and other parts of the world. It shows that we're not serious people on a very
let,
serious note.
let me add this again. Like you said earlier, Edwin, and I said, and I will reinforce it. The biggest challenge that every Liberian leadership, okay, leadership slash government slash person in position of power who had been entrusted and the confidence of the president had placed in the position like the Ministry of Agriculture. The biggest challenge we have is what? Is limited understanding. The level of understanding of the agriculture sector for Liberia has been, at our peril. This is why we stand at where we are, that in the abundance of so much, we're just destitute, impoverished simply because limited understanding. As I spoke, I read this thing from Google today. I just went into Google and looked up agriculture as a business. Agriculture as a business. And when you, again, like I said, if you look at the Firestone model and you look what you're talking about, if you look at the Firestone model that has now lasted, endured, continued over close to 100 years in our country, the rubber sector was brought into Liberia because of Firestone. Ask yourself, where is the wealth? Has there been wealth created in the rubber sector in Liberia? No, absolutely none. Why? Because limited understanding. Limited understanding. How can you not understand the crop that you're planting and the vast use of the crop?
Don't put it out.
And this is where we as a people, we as a nation, that's where we're stuck. You talked about something so good. I mean, you talked about the farming agricultural competition in Ghana. We have one national competition in this country that comes every year, but we have not built upon that structure. It's called the what? The county league. Correct me, Alva. Correct me, Ed. Am I right or wrong?
You're right. They counted meat.
Very good. Look at, let's just dissect the county league from the sports perspective for a second. Look at how much
is not being leveraged properly. That is not.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's my point. Would you have youth sports leading up to that county meet that we are developing talent year over year? Since we know every year we're doing the same thing, and then we can really start to understand. I know you know what they call the people in the elevator is trying to develop the grassroots program and stuff, but it got to be elevated where it's visible. Look, it can pin my heart to see people around, watching what they call it, except for the county meet. Most other soccer games around the country, people actually prefer to watch the international game all the time. And it's we're not marketing it properly, we're not involving it, we're not embedding some sense of nationalism into, being a sports or a player or an athlete in Liberia. There's a lot of work to do, but it takes leadership. It takes people seeing this thing.
What I was getting at, Ava, if we build on the county league.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying there's so much right in that space. Now you want to expand it. Great. But they can expand. The model is working.
The model is working. That's exactly right. That's why I wanted to bring
they do have an agricultural fair, or national agricultural fair, right?
Yes.
And I'm in several of the agricultural chat rooms. The pride with which some of those guys who have won some of the things, like a best grapefruit or best butter pear or whatever, I mean, you can see the sense of pride that
Yes,
they stopped to a national fair and they were the winner. So if there were more of that doing it, you're doing it from a regional level, you inspire more people, not just the
that's
people who
exactly
know
right.
about coming to carry or coming to something, but let that regional competition lead up to the national competition where we
That's
really
exactly
build
right.
it
That's
from
exactly
different
right.
areas, you know. So there's work to do, but our leaders need to really think on how we can do this thing to the benefit of everybody. So
And
just
that's what I'm getting at, Ava. The limited understanding. We already have the county league at that level where all the counties come together, they compete, and there's county pride. Why can't we build on top of that the agricultural league, or whatever the case, agriculture competition? Every county plant the same products, the same produce, whatever the case is. And then, like you said, there's a county competition, and then you move to the national competition. Who plants the most amount of grapefruit or the best grapefruit, the best avocado? While that is going on, we then move to what? We get the energy sector to support preservation. You get my point. There might be Liberians in the diaspora because you don't know when you move to this national competition in agriculture. What does it do, Edwin? It will attract foreign off takers for all of this stuff that will be planted. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. There may be others who may want to invest in the agro processing of all of the cassava, the edos, the plantain, the bananas, the grapefruit, the mangoes that will be planted. Because now all of a sudden you are initializing the agribusiness sector and you're getting national participation. And like Edwin rightly said, you leverage your mining sector, your natural resources that are depletable with what? With the financial investment of those who want to come and exploit that, right? Okay, with the agriculture sector by setting up agriculture banks in every county, So if Cape Mount got mining and the miners want to come in, hey, to come in, you've got to invest in the agriculture bank. You got to invest in the agriculture bank and you take that money and you leverage it with your farmers. Correct me if I'm wrong, Edwin. That's what you're talking about. Okay? You leverage that money so that money can now be invested with the small farmers in the Bombay, in the Cape Mount, in the Bapolu, the Lofa area. If the miner come to invest in exploiting natural resources in Lofa, first thing you got to invest $10 million into the agriculture bank. Take that money, leverage into the agriculture sector. Why? Because the agriculture sector builds local wealth that will perpetuate, that will live long after, and it creates more jobs and is replenishable year after year. And there's so many levels that it will create so many jobs. Well, I want to open up the phone lines this morning. I don't know whether Rufus is there, but those who want to call in to participate, the phone numbers are there. Ava is not in the US, so he's in Liberia. Edwin is also in Liberia, but we want to get participation on the show today. So I'm going to give my US number. My US number is scrolling there on the screen. It is 001 or +1 346. That's Ava's number there. That's scrolling across the screen. So if you're on Facebook and you can see the numbers, my number is +1 346 546 4589. Please call in and let's have a discussion about the agriculture sector, job creation, national development, and economic empowerment all across Liberia so that we can transform this country, transform our economy, and become a nationally developed country in the ECOWAS sub-region. And like Edwin said, we plant so much mangoes in Liberia, but there's no processing. But we're importing mango juice, we're importing guava juice, every juice that you can find at the supermarket today, that plant grows in Liberia. Edwin, are you there? Are you there? Okay.
Yes, brother Philip, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
I mean, guava
right.
is already in Liberia. Right. Why are we importing guava juice? Why are we importing guava juice when guava already go? Why are we importing grapefruit juice? Why are we importing orange juice? So the agriculture sector, the level of understanding that is needed for this sector is so critical. And the reason why we sit at where we are is simply because we have limited understanding. Our leaders do not understand the height and the depth and the width of this sector. This is the sector for Liberia's transformation, our economic transformation, job creation, national development, economic empowerment, and most importantly, creating wealth, long-term legacy wealth for Liberians all across this country. And this is something that is so important. Ophelia Williams, thank you for joining the show today. She says that the topic for today is very interesting and very important. Prince Dara says he agrees. Lady McCauley, my sister in Liberia, say yes, sir. Okay, thank you, lady, for joining the show. Prince Dara. So again, feel free, call the phone lines there. You can call you can call my number that's on the screen, +1 346 546 4589. Or you can call Ava. Ava, is your number live to come on the show or not?
Well, my WhatsApp number is, I don't know if I'll be able to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So don't call Ava, because Ava is way in Liberia and he's got data. He's got data issues. So as I was saying
I'm
earlier,
not on my computer. I'm on my.
Yeah, he's not on his computer. He's on the road. He's stuck in traffic there, and he's just coming from the farm, so he's experiencing Liberia once again. So it's so important. It's so important that we engage in this. So come off the Facebook and pick up the phone and call. As I was saying earlier, Ava and Edwin, I was reading this thing on I was in the tropical store, the Vietnamese store here in Houston this week. And I mean, soursop is being sold at $14 a pound. $14 a pound for soursop. So it's not just the soursop.
I eat a pound a day.
But Brother Philip, not to even cut you off, do you know that just go on Amazon, go on Amazon and check for sour tea. Just the leaf alone,
Yes.
the leaf alone of the sour tree, all right, is almost about $11 to $12 per 20 of the small bags on Amazon. And I tell you, as we speak right now, I have a whole bunch of them just growing up in my backyard here on the old road, the sour tree. That thing will bear. In fact, it will lead until it get rotten on the tree and fall off, because we don't know the value of it. We don't know the value of it. And it grows almost everywhere. It grows almost everywhere in Liberia.
And just imagine, right? So yeah, when we were in the store, my wife and I, we were in the store this week, and I just said, let me just take pictures. Let me just take pictures to just show different things, to see different things. And what we call monkey nut, the cassava, yuca, it's made by Goya. Goya is a very, very popular food processing company in the U.S. 5 pounds of cassava processed, just chipped, clean in the bag. 5 pounds is selling in the store for $8.99 a pound, just under $10.
Of course.
5 pounds.
Of course.
The soursop that grows in every county in Liberia is $14.99 per pound. Yes. $14.99 a pound. Okay. Mm-hmm. There's a plant that Firestone, when we were in botanical research, Division 16, Firestone planted a big orchard of a very, very good fruit. It was called mangosteen, little purple fruit. And I saw it there in the bag. It's $10.99 a pound. $10.99 a pound. $10.99 a pound. And this little thing grows in Firestone, and Firestone planted this thing. They planted this thing, and it grew very, very, we used to pick them when we were young, get chased by the watchman in Firestone, but I didn't see it being grown anywhere else in Liberia, mangosteen. Then the next one I saw was what we call monkey nut, right? The rambutan.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So the mangosteen is $10.99, under $12 a pound. And then the rambutan, the monkey nut, is $5 a pound. $5 a pound. Now, where is all of this food coming from? I'm in Houston. Look at the map. This stuff is coming all the way from Asia. It's not coming from West Africa. It's coming all the way from Vietnam or the Philippines on cargo planes, climate control, landing in Houston and moving to all of these markets. So there's a demand. And this is my point. So we are strategically positioned on the west coast of Africa. And all of those who used to fly Delta from what? From Atlanta to Accra, right? If you fly direct from Monrovia in the old days to New York or JFK on Pan Am, it was like a 12-hour flight. Correct me if I'm wrong, okay? I stand to be corrected. So just imagine what we could do for the agro sector, considering that there's a big demand for tropical products. I mean, coconut today is almost being, you can go to any Walmart, you taste it, you buy the coconut from Walmart, you're not even satisfied with the coconut. But we're not investing in those things in our sector that could create thousands of new jobs. And yet and still we say we have a youth unemployment problem. But yet and still we have the solution to the youth unemployment problem right in our faces. So Ophelia is saying, yes, they don't know the value of what they grow in Liberia. And Prince Dara is saying exactly. This is the key. Ophelia is saying you are right. Our leaders don't understand the importance of what we grow. So everything we need to grow, to expand, to build the agriculture sector, the agribusiness sector, to create jobs, create wealth, and transform this country is right there in that one sector. But yet and still, the lazy thing to do is to focus on the mining sector because they call it quick money, but there's no longevity. Quick money, but look at Mittal Steel. Look at Mittal Steel. Mittal Steel is focusing on extracting, and all of the iron ore is what? Is already sold. That's one thing people don't understand. All of the iron ore, all of the Firestone rubber is what? Is already sold. And that's the key thing about the agriculture sector.
And most of these people do transfer pricing. They sell it to their own and subsidiary or companies, and they sell
That's exactly right.
It is not buying at the international price.
There you go. So that's the scheme. So Mittal is not selling to a foreign company. Mittal, because again, if you go to Google, correct me if I'm wrong, or Ava or Edwin, Mittal has the steel division and they have the mining division. So if the man is selling internally, it's called transfer price. So one subsidiary is buying from the other subsidiary, whereby you thinking you're selling it at the world price. No, you're not. Because of your lack of understanding and your ignorance, you're being taken advantage of. So you will never get the right price because one subsidiary is selling it to another subsidiary. And because of transfer costs internally, you are not getting the international price. So the agriculture sector is key. Mittal has the mining sector. Mittal has the steel sector. The steel sector of Mittal, that's the one that makes the steel. That's not the mining sector. The mining sector of Mittal does the mining. So if the mining segment or sector or subsidiary of Mittal is selling to the steel side, they're not selling it and buying it at the international price. It's internal. So if that's what we are going by, that's what we'll never win. That's what we'll never win.
Brother
Go ahead, Edwin. Go ahead, Edwin.
Brother Philip, just to add up, you know, most of us supported this current government. And there were promises that were made to the electorates, you know, that they were going to review these mining concessions, they were going to do this, they were going to do that. Almost going to 2 years now, nothing has happened. And what I just want to say to our lawmakers, I want to send a caveat. I don't think we should extend any concession for Mittal Steel. And there's a reason for this. Today, if you put up all of the radio stations, Mittal Steel is running serious publicity in this country. Mittal Steel is doing this, they're doing this, they're paving this road, they're doing XYZ. But they're not telling us how much billions of dollars that they have made for Novinsky Mittal, who sits in London, who we have turned into a multi-billionaire from our natural resources. I think we need to pull out to all of these mining concessions, bring all of them on the table and say to them that look, going forward, the Liberian people need fair share of their natural resources, so that we can take some money from this mining sector. Even if it's 300 million, 400 million, we take that money from there and put it into the agro sector to be able to expand our natural resource base. Because you know, the land itself, like you said, the agricultural sector itself is replenishable, because once you farm this year, after a year or two, you can come back on that same land and farm. All you need to do is to just put some fertilizers in there. But we cannot keep depleting these natural resources. At the end of the day, we'll be left with nothing. These guys would have damaged all of our landmark, where you have these big mountains or so. So they go into Kinjal. The guys are doing underground mining, and nothing is happening in that place. So we need to put these people on the table and say, look, it is not. Look, we are in the 21st century. It is now time that we discuss fair share. We cannot keep doing this thing over and again. We need to have an agricultural bank, and that bank should be funded from the money that comes from the extraction of the natural resources. We need to put money in our bank every year so that the money goes back into agriculture. I think this is the way forward, because, like you rightly said, look, everything that we use in this country, as it's related to food, it can grow right here. Rice can
Yep,
grow right here.
that's exactly right. That's
All
exactly
right.
right.
You can grow cassava here that you can make flour out of. You can grow plum here. Look, and quite it's quite surprising that there was a new product on our market a few times. Some lime juice. They have them in the small bottles. It will shock you to know that those lime juice are coming from Ivory Coast.
I would
Right
not be
next door.
surprised. I would
Right
not be
next
surprised.
door. Right next door. Those
Yep.
lime juice are being sold even in supermarkets. They're
Yeah,
coming from right across the bridge.
because
And yet,
because 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 again, Edwin, you have your national demand or local demand in the counties. Then you have national demand across the country. Then you have regional demand.
of
So again,
course,
we are a population of almost 5 million people. That's just you whole number. Do you know how much you need to invest in the agriculture sector to feed 5 million people every day, every week, every month, and every year? That within itself is a market.
of
Let's
course,
go
it's
to
a huge
Abba.
market.
Abba, you can do your live on that mango tree. I saw the mangoes there hanging. Go ahead. I see the old mango tree. His internet, his broadband is not too powerful. Okay.
Oh, my mic was muted. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. We can hear you now. We can hear you now. Go ahead.
Do you see some of the images of the plum?
We can see the images of the plum and the mangoes on the tree.
Yes, look at this one. See? All hanging low.
Yep.
It's and just imagine thousands of plum planted in
Yep.
rows. Harvesting like that. That's one tree here. There's a second small tree that has been cut, but you see the mango on it. That's a third
Yep.
tree back there. That's just in somebody's yard. And like
Yep.
Edwin said, the sour sap in his yard, down there,
Mhm.
banana tree here, coconut tree here. So just imagine if we really purposefully, intentionally say we produce all the mangoes necessary for mango juice in West Africa. Just that market alone. That's significant. But it has to be a strong vision backed by a commitment and the resources to make it happen.
Yep.
You know? So until we can get to that era, I think we got a lot of work to do.
We
But
got a lot
I'm
of work to
about
do.
to chill. I'm about to chill a little bit before I hit the road to go back
Okay.
into town. So It's been a wonderful show. I appreciate the time. Edwin, thanks for coming on. And hopefully, um, I will have more time because I'll probably be heading back. Oh, this next weekend, my son's having his
Open house.
housewarming. I gotta put the
Warming.
invite
Okay.
out for
Okay.
all his uncles and aunties out there. Whether we know you can't come because it'll be short notice for you, but my son said he accepts Cash App, so I will put the number and stuff out there for people to contribute to him as he enters his new home and starts to understand the full idea of paying bills, water bill, light bill, property insurance,
And also home repair. Home
house
repair.
home
Home repair.
repairs, home home equipment insurance, all of that stuff. Let him get it on his calendar. Let him understand, about being an adult and being on his own. So it's
That's
a
good.
wonderful thing. I just wish every child out there can be, you know, wonderful at starting their life after college. Being able to, in a few years, materialize into doing some positive stuff for themselves. So
Good.
that's my wish for all the young people out there. So thank you, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, buddy. Be careful out there and enjoy the day. Don't eat no green plum. Don't eat no green plum with chicken soup on it.
And I'm not disappointed in you, just so you know.
You did. You go enjoy yourself, my man. Have a great day. Go have a
Thank you.
great day.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for joining us there. So that's Ava Tokbai was on his farm today.